We're heading out on our next adventure, and this is the only cabinet I have to store my yarn and projects. So I need to figure out what's staying and what's going, and I need to do it today. Hey everyone, my name is Natalie, also known as Nitty Natty, and my husband Kent and I and our dog Toaster have spent the last 16 months traveling to all 50 states and going to a yarn store in each state. Actually, we've spent the last 5 months here at my parents' house in Tennessee, kind of recuperating from our trip, but we are getting ready to head out on our next adventure, and we are going to be spending 4 months going across Canada. I feel like I've learned a few things from the last time we were traveling, and my goal this time is to not bring too much. You saw the space that I have. It's really, really tiny, and I'm also going to be shopping along the way. So I really only need a handful of projects, and this time I really want to squeeze in my spinning wheel. Let's get started with stage 1, which is resetting my stash. I was able to get started on this last weekend because 11 Stitches membership had an event where we all got on Zoom together and we all organized our stashes and encouraged each other along the way. My goal for this time was to kind of separate out different categories of yarn that I'll show you in just a second, but I also wanted to bag up everything that I knew I was going to leave behind. I don't want there to be a chance that something will happen to it. I don't know, this room that we're in is not really used all that often, and so if a bug were to get in or something was to spill or I don't know, the worst could happen, I just wanted it to be safe. Then with anything that I thought I was going to use, I separated it out into a few different categories. I threw all of my sweaters quantities onto the table here, and then I bagged a few other yarns to kind of see if I want to bring in any short-term projects with me. Once I got everything reorganized, I was ready to start stage 2, picking my projects. Hello. So right here I have a bunch of sweaters quantities. And when I laid these all out, my hope was that I would pick which sweater I wanted to bring with me and then pick one more to kind of package up, put in a Ziploc bag, label it, and leave it somewhere where I could ask my mom to mail it out to me later should I need another sweater project. But when I got all of these out, I really was like, you know, I don't think I want to work on any of those sweaters right now, which is not great because I should want to work on them. But I think the problem is we are changing seasons right now. It is getting a whole lot warmer. As you can see, I'm in a tank top. It's really warm today. And all of these are like really wintry sweaters, kind of more rustic-y yarns. And I'm just not really into them right now. This is a really cool possum and wool blend that my brother-in-law got me from New Zealand. I think I'll probably end up making some kind of a t-shirt, maybe a Tolsta tee or something. So that's definitely a contender because it would make sense in the coming months. This beautiful yarn is a Shetland wool from Five Sisters Farm, and it's really nice. I'm gonna make this like cool lacy cardigan, but I think this makes sense for not when we're in the van. I feel like I need really simple projects and lace is just not gonna do. This is Suburban Stitchers Surrey, and it's really hard to tell. I'm sorry, my lighting is not great up here, but it's a really nice, soft, pale pink, almost like a ballet pink. I want to make a really nice, fluffy cardigan, but I think I don't want to be working on this in the summer months when I'm hot and sticky, so this one's out. This is some really yummy boucle from the Little Wolf Knits. I'm planning to make her Second Avenue sweatshirt, but I need another skein of DK weight in order to do that. So since I don't have all the yarn with me and it's a long sleeve sweater, I think this one's going to be out too. This is a yummy mohair and wool blend from Green Mountain Spinnery. I am planning to make the Concentric Pullover by Kate Salomon, and actually it would be a really great project to take with me. It's probably going to be a little too warm to wear while we're traveling in the summer, but I think it's simple enough that it would be a really good contender. Okay, so there's actually one more sweaters quantity, but I already cast it on. This is Ruby and Rose's Rose Lace. It's a BFL lace blend, and I'm holding 2 strands together to make fingering weight. I am making the Skyline Tee by Tori Yu. I just cast it on a few days ago, honestly, after I got everything organized here, and I was like, what do I want to make next? I had no knitting projects going, only a crochet project, and so I got it started. So I think that's decision made because I really don't have the space to bring with me more than one sweater project. I am going to bag these 2 up and maybe just label them. I have a feeling that once we get started traveling, I'm going to be picking up yarn to make my next projects rather than have my mom ship stuff to me. But I do want to have maybe some backups just in case. One project is obviously not going to be enough. So while I was organizing my stash, I made a whole bag of what I would just call happy yarn. It's mainly just single skeins of fingering weight and really bright and fun colors, but I'm kind of torn. Part of me is wondering if I should bring maybe one fun skein per month that we're going to be gone, 4 months in total, and just have it just in case I want to cast something on. I don't really have any plans for these. I can make socks, I can make muscle bra hats, I can make yarn cozies. Really, I just need simple and portable projects. It's really nice for when we're driving. It's really nice for when we're doing meet and greets or events or late nights or hiking. I mean, I can't bring a sweater hiking. I just don't think that's going to be reasonable. But now I'm remembering that Sock Week is coming up in July, and I have our Sock Week yarns. Can't show them to you yet. That's coming May 27th, but I do want to work up samples in each of those. So it'd probably be more responsible of me to save the room and save the knitting space and bring those yarns. I think I'm going to have to do that. I'm really excited for the day when I have a stationary space again and I can really spread out and like put my stash on display. I'm kind of just imagining, you know, whenever I'm ready for like that new single skein project, just going to that cube or basket or however I have it and like picking something based on my mood. I was also able to make myself an entire bag that is just like holiday yarn. So that's going to be really fun one day too. But there are no holidays coming up right now, so I can put this away. I think there's a more than 100% chance that I'm going to be buying yarn while we're traveling, and that will definitely fill in the gaps for any like small project needs. So again, I'm trying to remind myself like what happened last time we traveled. I started out with already too much, and then you buy things and you add to it, and it is just unmanageable, and then it becomes uncomfortable in the van because you're always having to move a bag to like sit down or make the bed, and I just don't want to do that again. So I'm being disciplined. I think I'm going to be good with the sweater project, and one other thing I want to bring. One of the overall goals I have for 2025 is to start working through my advents and mini skeins. I have a lot of advents, too many to only use one every December. And so I want to bring one advent project with me in addition to my sweater project. I've had a lot of time to think about which one I want to bring. So I have decided that I'm going to make the Cozy Comfort Throw by Molly of a Homespun House. It's a really simple project. It could not be simpler. It is essentially just garter stitch. You hold 2 fingering weight yarns together. You have some I-cord on the edge. I think it's going to be the perfect project. Again, just learning from the last few times, having things that are complex just don't really work, and having more than one complex project is going to be really tough. So I think having the blanket will be good, and because it's a knitted project, it will certainly last me all of the 4 months that we're gone. I am pretty sure. So the yarn that I have picked for this is the Little Wolf Knits Schitt's Creek Season 3. I believe this is from 2 years ago. This is only about half of it, but you can see it's a pretty cohesive color palette. And I already ordered what I need to go with it. I ordered like 5 or 6 or 7, I can't remember. I did the math when I ordered it, but I ordered a solid color to go with it. And I've already forgotten what that is. I think I settled on like a light green to really kind of like amp up the blanket and give it even more interest. So I think that's going to be really beautiful. I did save the little baggies with the number tags, but I think there's got to be a better way to get this all prepped for myself. I do not bring a ball winder or a Swift when we're in the van. There's just not enough space. If I buy a new yarn, I do ask the yarn store to wind it if they can, but I feel weird about asking if I can use a winder or if I can have them wind something that I didn't get at the store. And occasionally we're stopping and staying with friends and I'm able to wind yarn. And of course, it's a mini skein. I could hand wind it, but like that's really going to cramp my style, I feel like, when I'm in the groove of the blanket. I think over the next several days before it is time for us to leave, I am just going to start winding up these suckers. A few of my members said I could just magic knot them together. And I might just do that because at first I thought, no, I don't want to magic knot them because I want to have very clear and distinct color changes, but I think the colors are just going to blend into each other anyway. So maybe I'll do the magic knot or maybe a more secure join, and then I'll be able to just wind these enormous balls of yarn and just knit and knit and knit to my heart's content. That's sounding like a good plan right now. We'll see what happens when I actually do it. I'm just gonna leave this right here on this chair so that's a task I can start working on this week. All right, so if you're keeping track, that is the Skyline tee, pretty small and squishable. This yarn, plus the 5 or 6 or 7, or I can't remember how many skeins I ordered, which I'm going to pick up in Pennsylvania when we are there in just a few weeks. The Sock Week yarns, which I think I'll be able to put all into one project bag, so that won't be too bad. But here's the last challenge. I really want to bring my spinning wheel. And not only that, I'd like to bring my Lazy Kate and some fiber if I can. So this is where it gets really tough because obviously I don't have to bring this. I also was going to try to find a smaller kind of like basket like this with the holes in the side where I can stick the dowels through that I could use as a Lazy Kate because my spinner is really small and the bobbins are tiny. Actually, here's a project that I have been working on for the past few months. I haven't touched in several weeks, and I'd kind of like to bring it with me because it'd be really nice to finish plying it and maybe make something out of this. See, this is how small they are. So since I'm only making 2 plies right now, I really only need a basket that can just like fit these guys in here. I probably shouldn't have waited until the last minute to look into this. I just have this vision of us like in a beautiful park or maybe like hiking up a mountain. Actually, that's probably not true. I'm probably not going to bring this with me when we hike, but like when we're in a beautiful campsite or something like that, I just have this vision of me sitting outside, enjoying the weather and spinning, and I want to be able to do that. And if I'm bringing my spinning wheel, I want to be able to finish the yarn, which means I need to have some sort of system to put my bobbins on so that I can ply. In an absolutely perfect world, I would bring all of this with me, so I think I know what it's time to do. Let's head back into the van and see if this basket can fit, and we'll go from there. Stage 3, solving the puzzle. We gotta work quick in here because it is about 91 degrees before both me and the camera overheat. So I think first things first, I gotta know, does this fit? Moment of truth. Oh, like a glove. Since that's the case, I feel like I can kind of fill up this basket with other spinning stuff. Like if I could bring all of these bobbins, plus I have just a really small amount of fiber still left in that spin, that would make me so happy. Ken's gonna be so mad at me because I'm standing on this bench back here, so I'm gonna do this fast. I want you to be able to see in here. Okay, this is a mess. I'm gonna obviously make it better, but I think that will go in there, and I feel like having my spinning wheel case in a basket is gonna be even better for keeping everything like really nice and sturdy. So that obviously doesn't leave me a ton of space for other things, but they're very squishable. I found a project bag for all of my admin stuff. Obviously, that's going to get a lot taller. The thing that's trickiest about storage in here is like things don't really stack that well. So honestly, even if this is like all the way full, that's kind of nice for it to just take up space vertically. Then I have just enough space right here for my current project. Plus I'm going to have Sock Week stuff in there. And I think that's it. We're full. Oh my gosh, do you know what I just remembered? My Notions pouch. All my needles, all my tools. I mean, it's pretty compact, honestly, for everything that I can do with this bag, but I definitely want to bring it. And right now, there's not any space. I also grabbed my chalk bag because I love this thing for hiking. It's definitely coming with me, but luckily it doesn't take up much space. I think I'm going to stop here for today because I am dripping in sweat and I need to do some things. I need to make some decisions. I need to wind some yarn. Something that I could do is I don't have to bring all of these bobbins. I could leave this project behind. It kind of breaks my heart, so I think I'm going to figure out a way to do it. Once I actually spin that project, all of those bobbins are going to collapse and I am going to have more space. So technically, this may actually fit right here once all of that is done. And I won't be picking up my 5 skeins until later. I know I'm already kind of digging myself into a hole because I know I'm going to buy more yarn at some point. But it may actually work for now. If I can get my spinning project done in the next like 3 weeks, which is a total possibility, this just may work. Okay, I'll come back to you in a few days. Hello, we have some catching up to do. It's been 3 weeks since I filmed the first part of this video, probably the majority of it, but I didn't get all of my packing done. I did get everything into the overhead space that we have in the van, and then we started traveling. We have only stayed in the van for a couple of nights, and we've mostly been staying with friends. So right now we are staying with our friends Brianna and Michael. You may know Brianna is the Little Wolf Knits, and it's been a really great week because I've been getting a lot of stuff prepped. However, I have so much more yarn to put in the van. I got 4 more skeins of yarn at Yarncentric that I'm planning to make a crochet top with. Then I had 7 skeins of yarn waiting for me here that I'm planning to pair with all the minis that I showed earlier from the Advent to make a blanket. So that's what I'm working on right now. I have been working on that winding over the last few days. There was no way I was going to get it done at home ahead of time, and I can't really remember what I had shared with you before. So what I ended up doing is winding the minis and tying them together into a massive cake of yarn. So this is actually days 1 through 16. I believe this is a 31-day Advent, and I decided to put day 1 on the outside because this is such a big cake. I figured that would stay put together longer if I pull from the outside rather than the inside. So day 1 is on the outside, day 13 is on the inside, and I got those 7 skeins of yarn to hold together with it. So at first, I just wound 1, because that's how you wind yarn. But then I thought, why not tie them together too? So this is 2 skeins. And then I thought, why not make it as big as possible? So this is 3 skeins. So 6 skeins of yarn looks like this. I also have 1 more for the border. So I've been winding all that the last few days. I've only got these 8 minis left to wind and add on to the cake that I started yesterday. So I think that means I probably started with 31 and I'm working my way to 17, which is here. I've got 7 more to add. And I decided instead of doing a magic knot, I wanted to try something a little more secure to join them. The technique that I'm using is called the Russian join. Basically, you take the 2 yarns and you link them like this, and then you thread your tapestry needle with one of the ends and you like weave it back through itself. And then you do the same thing with the other end, weave it back through itself. So you end up with this like kind of double layer of yarn, but it's already woven in. Once you actually go to knit over those, I feel like that's going to be super duper secure. So I'm going to kind of try to show you how I'm doing it, what I've learned, but I will probably end up linking a tutorial because I feel like it's going to be a little difficult to show. Of that yarn, the 7 skeins and the 31 minis wound into the giant cakes fit in this bag, which is not too bad. I think that's going to fit like vertically into the cabinet, but that is not all I have to wind. I also have all my sock week yarns that I want to go ahead and get wound up because I do not know at this point the next time I'm going to be somewhere with a winder, and I'm pretty sure this video is gonna come out the week after we reveal everything. So this is what I have to do next. All of these little pretties done. Now I just have to wait for Kent to get back with the van tomorrow. He's at a campsite tonight getting everything ready, and we're gonna see if all this fits. I have brought everything out to the van, and just a reminder, this is the space that I'm working with. I've decided for this leg of the trip that I'm not gonna worry about keeping my whips, or really I only have one whip. I did put a sock project in my purse that I haven't started yet, but I really just have my one sweater whip. So those are not going to go into this cabinet, which means that this is mostly just storage. I'm not going to need to get in and out of it multiple times a day, which does change the way that I pack everything in here. So I think we can make it work. The biggest issue is going to be my spinning. Right now I have all these bobbins for a spinning project that I am working on, and that's not going to change anytime soon because I just started plying, and at least as many bobbins as I have here, I'm going to have when I ply. Of course, eventually I could start winding some of those up. I do have this super cool Nitty Knotty from Katrinkles that breaks down, so I will be able to like wind off yarn into skeins, which will be really nice and will give me more space eventually. Anyway, let's just start packing this up. Apologies for the weird angles. There's nowhere to put you. Okay, let's try some things. So that's the blanket project. I'm gonna see if I can squish it like all the way in the back. Eventually I won't have to keep this in here when it becomes a project that I'm working on. So on the way here, I had my spinning wheel into this basket and like all the extra things here and then like bobbins stacked on top. I think I want to see what happens when I put all the extras and then my packed bobbins in here like this. See if we have any more space for the wheel. Oh yes, there is definitely space for that to go there. But what about my needles and notions pouch? I don't think it's gonna fit in. Nope, not above. I also don't really like the idea of my like plastic spinning wheel rubbing against this, so I might try to put something in between. Maybe this? I don't know, it kind of seems like wasted space. My spinning wheel really needs to be upright, so maybe let me try it back the first way that I had it, and then if this can go in where the spinning wheel is, maybe everything else can just fit on top. Okay, this just may work. I'm having to like precariously balance right now. Okay, so if I can just get this stuff in there, I think we got it. All right, I think we're rocking. Things are looking pretty good without being too difficult to take stuff out. My only problem was this super cute yarn bowl, but it does look like I can fit it in our kitchen stuff here. So it's just not gonna get stored with its friends. All right, we did it. That feels so good because we're not actually leaving until 2 days from now, which means I am prepared ahead of time for once. If you haven't seen me talk about it already, we are starting our summer in Canada. We're going to be venturing across all of the provinces that border the US and the Maritimes. It's going to be so much fun. So I hope maybe I can meet you along the way. Thanks so much for watching another packing video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!